Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Tawana Rivers. I am the CEO of the 10K Project, and you are joining us for tonight's Bet on Black Pitch, where we bring to you an amazing Black founder who is raising capital. We have with us this evening Mr. Kelvin Harris, who's going to tell us all about his investment opportunity in real estate. I get so excited when it's a real estate opportunity because we know how amazing real estate deals can be. And we also know that real estate deals have the potential to build generational wealth. And that's the whole point, right, of this. And so I'm super, super excited to talk to you this evening, Kelvin. Before we go into the campaign page and do our regular process, I wanted to bring up that this campaign, so remember, so for those of you who were with us yesterday, I shared that there was a little collaboration going on here. And so I am happy to announce that Kelvin is actually on the Secure Living portal. And if you guys remember, we had an amazing founder come to us. I feel like it was maybe 3 months ago. Time is just crazy, but I feel like it was 3 months ago. Mrs. Stokes came to us and shared her and her husband have this Black-owned real estate investing portal. And we learned all about the portal. And so Kelvin is on the Secure Living portal. So we get kind of a twofer tonight, right? You get to explore the portal in more detail than we were able to that evening, right? Because SEC rules did not allow her to kind of delve into different campaigns. And so now we get to see this campaign. We get to go through the site. Well, we'll spend a little bit more time than we typically do because this is the first time we're going here to look at a deal. But I am so excited. Both of these people are 10K Project members. And so to be among family for real, right, is a really big deal tonight. So tonight's a big deal. So sit back, enjoy the ride. I think you're going to love this opportunity. The deal is clearly described, easy to understand. And so, I love opportunities like that. And the site, we're going to go to this site. The site is so well organized. We see a lot of different portals and sometimes you have to search for the deal information and search for this and search for that. They've done an amazing job laying this out very, very clearly. And so I'm excited. Okay, so let me go share my screen and we will pull up the site. And for those of you who have not yet registered with the Secure Living site, tonight's a good opportunity to do that so that you can look at everything, not just this campaign, but just, create an account, get some login credentials so that you can enjoy the entire site. Okay. All right, so you guys should be able to see my screen. So Kelvin's opportunity, we're going to call this the Forbes Farmhouse development, right? It is in, Kelvin, help me pronounce that. Is it Miccosukee, Florida?
That's very good. Yeah, Miccosukee, Florida.
Miccosukee, Florida.
About 18 miles outside of Tallahassee. So it's in the Tallahassee capital region.
Very good. Minimum target raise is $415,000. The offering includes common shares for 12% ROI. And look at this offering snapshot. I love this snapshot. So the type of security, common stock. The investment duration, 60 months. Your ROI, 12%. The project type is a mixed-use residential piece of property. The exit strategy is refinance. And the start date is January 2024. There's nice detail and summary of the project. We don't have to read that tonight because we got the man himself here that's going to give us all the summary we need. There's some amazing pictures. I love the pictures. I love this design. This is my aesthetic right here. Clean lines, open space. I absolutely love this. We'll talk more about that. This information about the company, information about Mr. Harris. He'll tell you all about himself again this evening. We'll talk a little bit about the market. Remember, it said it was a mixed use residential, so we'll talk about that a little bit and what the uses are. We'll talk all about the deal, but look how clean this is. You know, sometimes we got to click and find and go back and click with some of the other portals. I just love how this site is working and how it's mapped out. So kudos to Secure Living for creating a site that was user friendly. It really, really is. Okay, so with that, I am going to stop sharing. As you guys,
if you wouldn't mind, I was saying while you have that,
pull it back up.
Page up, yeah, just pull up and just go ahead and play the video if you could.
Absolutely.
Just,
well, let me stop.
I mean, it's only a minute and a half, but and then I can just kind of roll right into it. I appreciate it.
Let's do it. Let me just share my sound.
Because if you like the pictures, you're gonna love the video.
All right. No, can you guys, you can't see it, can you?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Okay, hold on. Let me do it again. Share screen. Computer audio. Oops. Okay, now let's make sure this plays. You gotta do an extra click on Zoom now with the audio. Let's see.
Oh, really? Wow, yeah.
Can you guys hear that?
Not really. I don't know if do you have your audio shared?
Let me try to do it again.
I think you, if I remember, do you have to do it when you have when you're sharing your screen?
When you're sharing the screen, but they changed it where now you've got to go to the advanced tab and you've got to click something there.
Well, I'm glad I asked you to do it then, because I didn't even know that. I learned something new today.
Is it not doing it?
There was just a note that they heard the audio a little bit, so I think we'll be fine if the visuals, if the audio doesn't come through 100%, really just more the visual that I want people to see with regard to, as you mentioned, the aesthetic, and then I think we can get into it.
Okay, let's try that then. Let's try it again.
Is it playing on your end? Oh, wow. Not seeing it here.
You guys are not seeing that?
No. Well, let's do this. Let
me do one more thing. Let me do one more thing. I'm sorry, Kevin. Let me fix this and do one more thing because it's a great video. But why weren't you guys seeing it? I saw it fine. Okay, hold on. Is it going, you see it now?
I do not.
Do you guys see it? Somebody put in the chat, because it says I'm sharing my screen.
Well, I see it, but it's not playing.
Oh, it's not playing yet. No.
Yeah,
I didn't hear it.
I see it. Yes.
Make sure you saw it first. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, it sounds like they couldn't hear anything. So maybe we'll try it a little bit later. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I can share my screen.
And it was just good. It was just good music playing, guys. It wasn't any talking or anything. It was just like a really cool song playing.
Yeah, I'll try it again from my end. And of course, they can always go to the Secure Living site, which and listen to it as well. So let me go ahead and pull this up. I want it to go from the beginning, not the end. All right, well, thank you, Tawana. I'm super excited about this opportunity to present in front of the 10K Project community. Again, my name is Kelvin Harris. I have a company, Telstar Consulting, which is a financial services company, financial services, wealth management, wealth advisory, integrated asset management. But the interesting thing with regard to that is my degree is actually in architecture, which I haven't been doing for quite some time. But as life would have it, it seems like I'm kind of going full circle here with this crowdfunding opportunity that I was fortunate to be educated on when I first joined 10K, and happened to be on that presentation for Secure Living. So that's what brings us here today. So let's talk a little bit about the Forbes Farmhouse. This is a mixed-use residential facility. I'll touch a little bit on that, but I really want to talk about the historical significance. So some of you might be able to relate to this. So at the end of the day, this is really what this whole thing is about. So, you know, I live in Maryland, but my family, both my mom and my dad, are from the South, specifically Tallahassee, Florida, or the town outside called Miccosukee, Florida. And one of the things that my family is currently experiencing or facing is something that has been happening to African-American families for quite some time. Don't know how many of you know the statistics, but I think coming out of slavery right around 1910 was the peak when African Americans owned land in this country to the tune of about 14 million acres. Now, that's an interesting time for me because I remember my grandmother was born in 1900s. And, by hearing the stories as you're a little kid sitting around the table, somewhere between my grandparents and my great grandparents, who were farmers, at some point in time, my family owned 300 acres in the Tallahassee area. What we own now is nowhere close to that. It's somewhere in a neighborhood of, I would say, 40 to 60 acres. So unfortunately, that's consistent with what we're seeing, because the statistics, as you can see, about 90% of the 14 million acres owned by Black people in 1910 have been lost or seized over time. So what this project was all about at the root was coming up with a strategy or looking at options that will turn that tide and allow us to put things in place so that we'd have income generating. The properties will be income generating, because very few of us farm these days. And what happens is we just wind up paying taxes on the land that's just sitting there, and then eventually we sell it. So I wanted to give that historical significance. Some people on this call may be or may have gone through that. So at the end of the day, I really see this crowdfunding opportunity as a way that we can kind of stem that tide and begin to hold on to land that we are losing because it's not revenue generating. All right. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about the project. So again, our mission was to take a 5-acre parcel owned by my mom, but has been in my family for at least 4 generations, and set a precedence, do something with it that would allow it to be revenue generating. Again, using my architectural background, I started looking at different styles and prototypes or aesthetic that I thought would be in keeping with the history, meaning, barns and farmland, but also basically have a more modern flavor on that. So we'll get into something called barn dominium and modern bar style in a minute. Well, actually, it's the next slide. So that's what we began to do with regard to the Forbes Farmhouse. Is from the aesthetic side, we wanted to have it look, probably a combination of the modern farm style and the Scandinavian style, but also have it be a venture or a residential property that was multi-use, that could generate revenue. So what we did, we began to focus on things. Actually, let me go back. I think it was, I'll just talk about it here. So the whole idea was to create a facility that would be conducive for vacation rentals, corporate rentals, as well as event space or event venues. So we really want to tap in or leverage 2 growth markets: the event space rentals, as well as the vacation rentals. And I'll get into some statistics on the vacation rentals as a little bit later. But again, looking at different motifs to see what would work in that area from an architectural standpoint, but also from an aesthetic standpoint, as well as a functional standpoint. So I had to kind of put my architectural hat back on that had taken off for a little while. Let's talk about the area, because again, when you think of Florida and you think of vacation rentals and things like that, Tallahassee is probably not the first place you think of. But interestingly enough, there's been some articles recently that talks about Tallahassee in terms of its economic growth, where it's actually, at least since 2018, it's been ranked as one of the top cities for economic growth in the state of Florida. So that bodes well. A couple of years ago, they were able to transfer their regional airport into an international airport. So it really begins to speak highly of what's happening in the region from an economic standpoint. And obviously that's very important when you talk about travel and things of that nature. In addition, Tallahassee was voted one of the 150 best places to live in the US. So it's an area that's up and coming. And I think, as it relates to investments, those are the sort of areas you want to be in and kind of get ahead of those curves, and we have that opportunity. Again, so the other benefit of a project like this is since we own the land, that gives us a significant advantage just in terms of the sort of things we can do from a financing perspective, as well as the sort of offerings we can give to our investors, because one of the largest line items with regard to doing these development sort of projects, we don't really have to deal with because we own the land outright. Okay, yeah, some of you may know also just in terms of draw, Tallahassee is a big college sports hub. You see here a picture of the Deion Sanders back in the day when he played for Florida State. But they're, D1 and have championships in multiple fields, women's softball, men's baseball. And then of course, you can see down in the corner there, the Marching 100 from FAMU, my mom's alma mater. So in terms of the draws, the attractions, the economic viability of this area, I just kind of want to set that precedent to kind of make the case that this is a active, vibrant area, and it's only growing. All right, so let's talk about the project itself. So it's really kind of a two-phase, but essentially the funds that I'm looking to raise for this offering are related to phase one, which is just the site development. It's basically a very wooded site. We've started some work because I've been self-financing this probably for the better part of a year. But in order to kind of get this over the hump, I'm looking to, put an offering together to acquire some more funds. So here's our subdivision. We're in the process of doing some land clearing now, so we need to complete that. We're going to put in some irrigation ponds and a engineered paved road. So it's going to be a fully developed 5 lot site. Now, well, the important thing about that is the county essentially told me that before we do any construction, the full site development must be completed. So that's really the reason behind the need to go the crowdfunding route to raise the necessary funds to do the entire site development, the roads, retention ponds, everything. And at which time then we will be able to get a building permit to put up the first structure. So again, here's that area, very heavily wooded. And then, here's our site, our engineering plans right here next to them to show what we're going to complete. Here's my cost estimate just in terms of dollars needed to get that portion completed. So I'll move on to now phase 2. Interestingly enough, this is where we're going to actually do the construction of the Forbes Farmhouse and do basically a ground up. Now, interestingly enough, we're already pre-approved, or I should say, I'm working with this with another family member, but we've already been pre-approved for a construction to perm loan to build the structure. The county just kind of threw us a curveball by saying, hey, you have to develop the entire site before we give you a permit. So we've already have a pre-approval. It's probably going to change a little bit because we received that pre-approval prior to the interest rates. So we're going to make some adjustments for that. But effectively, once we get the site developed, we're kind of full speed ahead in terms of the construction to perm loan with a local bank who is going to keep this loan in their portfolio. These are the type of loans they hold on to and they do not sell in the secondary market. So we're very excited about that. But again, some of the things that we're going to focus on, the landscape site amenities, again, modern farmhouse design, multi-purpose interiors, which I'll get into in a minute, because we want something that, one, look, feels, and is conducive for vacation rentals, as well as corporate rentals. This is it's a 4-bedroom facility with either a bonus room or a theater room. So for large groups, family reunions, tailgaters for football games, and with the pool and other things outside, it's very conducive for all of those things. But additionally, in this front area, the atrium area, this can be used again for networking events, corporate training, small weddings. Again, we also have enough land, so if you wanted to do a nice outdoor wedding, you could. So again, the multi-purpose idea was key, because we wanted to design a facility or a residence, but a residence that would put us in a position to generate revenue consistently over the course of the months and years, over the course of once the facility is up and running, we can tap into that, the Vrbo, the Airbnb, as well as special events. So again, here's the estimated cost for the construction itself. This is the site from inside, just from the atrium area. So again, we're actually in a position where I don't think we'll actually need to raise money for this. We have a pre-approval. We literally just need to raise money for the site development. But again, the returns, the 12% returns we talked about, and the equity share will be in the farmhouse. So that's what owning the land allows us to do in terms of flexibility in structuring the deal to make it as attractive to potential investors as possible. So here's just a few more views. This is on this side. This is the rear, where we actually have technically it's 2 bedrooms, but this is the upstairs master bedroom with its own private balcony. More than likely, this lower level won't be used as a bedroom, but it'll be used as a game room. So again, there's a lot of features and a lot of different sort of activities that we can accommodate. We see here, the pool area with a fire pit. So we're just looking at those amenities that we believe will attract the travelers coming into this area for either a long period of time, over and above what you currently see there with regard to like Airbnb and Vrbo and places like that. Just a quick blurb on the trend of vacation rentals. This is this is globally. This is in the US. So the trend, as you can see, is going from a $7.5 billion industry in 2022 to 112 billion by 2030. So we want to get ahead of that trend and essentially build to suit to support that area. Again, so between the growth in economics, the international airport, again, I'm here in the DC area, we have the direct flights to Tallahassee now. That wasn't a situation that we had before. From National, you get direct flight to Tallahassee. And again, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you all do, but Tallahassee is the capital of Florida. So that the whole, economic, political, lobbyists, all those activities are happening in this region, and we can kind of take advantage of that. Just a quick outline of what some folks in the area are doing. Again, so these are older facilities. This one up top is literally a retrofit of an older barn. interesting. No, you know, and then this one is a fairly newer structure, but much smaller than ours. So despite that fact, these folks are still commanding anywhere from 600 to 750 a night for these. So I think, you know, we could come in and pretty much, even if we were at that level or even lower, the revenue we would generate, you know, was somewhere between 150 to 200,000 a year just on the vacation rentals, and that's at a 60% occupancy, which is what we're seeing in the area. So you add a couple of weddings and a couple of birthdays to that for an event space. You know, we're already up into 200,000 a year in terms of revenue. So I think this is a very viable opportunity. So again, just kind of to highlight, we're looking at a 12% preferred return, 20% equity share. So essentially on the refi, you know, over 5 years, we're anticipating equity of, you know, at least increase of 40%. We're going to split 20% of that with our investors. And, you know, full life cycle of this investment will be, you know, 60 months or essentially 5 years, which is when the refi will occur. So I think that's it. I think I covered pretty much everything. So again, as you guys know, we're on the secured living site. That's where you can go to, you know, so currently we are in the test the waters phase, I like to say. We won't start our capital raise in earnest, but we do want to, you know, get soft commitments or pledges now just to kind of get an idea of where we are, what the interest is with regard to this type of a project. So if you're interested, please go to the site and, you know, again, make a initial non-committal selection in terms of your level of participation. And, you know, we'd love to have your support, and I'm open to answer any questions.
Wonderful. Very, very good. Nice presentation, Calvin. You want to stop sharing your screen so they can see us bigger on the screen?
Yes.
If you're out there in Facebook and you have any questions for us, please put them in the comments and we'll come over there and pull them. We've got a couple of questions in the Q&A, but I want to ask a couple of questions also. First, before I ask a couple of questions, I want to say congratulations. I mean, this is a big deal. You know, super excited that you were able to take the family land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And something on it. We talk about that often in the community, you know, don't sell big mama's house, right? We say it all the time. And so this is what you could do with big mama's property. If you
literally had that meeting with all of my, it was some years ago, but when I learned that once upon a time we had 300 acres and we only had 60, I called a meeting, all the cousins. I said, we not selling nothing no more. Anybody want to sell anything, talk to me first. So, but those are the things you have to do in order to change the tide, change the course of what's going on.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. And I'm glad they listened to you because this is a big deal. Very good. Okay, we've got some questions. Sarah says, what security features and measures will exist on the property?
You mean physical security?
Either physically or cameras, security system.
Yeah, I mean, we're
gates, all the things.
Yeah, so the design that you saw is what we would call in architecture a schematic design. But yeah, we're looking to have a top-notch modern residential facility. So, you know, security cameras, you know, the whole 9 yards, because that's pretty standard. But even in those areas, even though some were remote, you know, even fencing, you know, the whole 9 yards. So we're definitely looking to make the property secure. Just to get a little bit more into that. So one of the things that somebody may answer, we'll see a lot of, you see a lot of glass, and it is Florida. So, but I did want to have that indoor outdoor sort of space. But we also are looking into this technology where I'm not exactly sure how it works. I'm still doing the research on it, but it's a film that you can have on, and by putting a current, it basically darkens the window. So, we could go with, simple shades and things of that nature, but we are looking to do, we are looking to create a structure or a facility that is takes full advantage of all the technology of the day.
Yeah, I think I know that film you're talking about. When I was in Singapore over the summer, the windows had it. It almost has like little dots in it, and it's a film. It also does something from an energy standpoint too. It's not just to keep people from seeing in. It's like holding in some of the energy so that you have better efficiencies with heat and air and all of that stuff as well.
Right, and we're looking into that as well. If you guys kind of remember, if the building's kind of split in two and it kind of has a atrium or a skylight in the middle, definitely looking at, there is a film that can kind of roll out. So we're looking at some different options, but it is essentially a solar panel, but it's as thin as like a sheet. So those things can be incorporated into screening. And when you roll it out, it acts as a screen, but it also acts as a energy solar energy panel that you can leverage for to reduce your utilities and maybe even make enough to sell back to the grid.
Very good. Very good. Yes, Sarah. So he did say even a fence. Sarah, I imagine when I see the pictures, I imagine like one of those electric fences that you roll up to, and you roll up to like a palatial estate, right? And you go up like a hill and then the gate opens. Like I envision that kind of gate for this house because I love this design. Oh my God, this design gives me all the feels. Kevin said, will your family's land ownership be transferred to the LLC, or will the land be leased to the LLC?
So the family ownership will not be transferred to the LLC. Essentially, we're going to create an LLC that's going to be the developer for the property. So they have some stipulations without going into too much detail, because this is another way that I'm seeing that they kind of figure out how to not have you own your land anymore. But we know how to deal with that. There's some stipulations with regard to when we can sell or when we can transfer it. So we're going to be sensitive of that. But essentially, the development the Forbes Farmhouse development is going to be the developer of the property, and the investors are going to be shareholders within the entity that owns that builds and owns and creates the house.
Very good. We've got a couple of Facebook questions. Cal says, are any of the first floor glass panels able to open up to create a combined or transitional indoor outdoor space?
Absolutely. So they would take my architecture degree away if I didn't do that. So specifically, there's the one section where there's basically a not an atrium, but basically a deck that comes off that looks towards the pool. So I have basically going to be sliding glass doors, or those operable doors that kind of swing open. I'm envisioning like a kid's birthday party and kids running in and out, getting in the pool and coming back. That's essentially why I designed it. Or, you can have like a dinner party or something in the evening. So, you have your jazz band outside, you have food. So people are kind of meandering in and out. So that whole indoor outdoor concept is definitely something that I incorporated into the project.
Nice. Very, very good. We've got another Facebook question from Alicia. Any land plans factor in for food, fruit, orchard, such as oranges, apples, mangoes, berries for nutrition benefits of residents or possibly for sale? the name as a farm kind of lends to that, right? Will it still function a little bit like a farm?
Right. So that's a great question, because this is just one scenario or one option as in terms of what we're looking to do with the land down there. Just now, remember, this is just 5 acres of maybe about 40 that my family still has held on to, was able to hold on to. But yeah, we've looked at all of that. We've looked at, or we're still looking at, situations where we can essentially let people come in and lease our land to farm. Create, kind of like a farmer's market type of scenario. We've looked into things like cannabis, hemp. We've looked into things like, cell towers, solar farms. But this was kind of the low-hanging fruit, and this is, kind of what can we do right now that's kind of very functional, because, worst case scenario, then I just move down there and live in the house, or, and again, it just becomes that kind of like a family compound sort of thing. But this was something that we didn't have to do as much kind of research on, since, within my family, we don't necessarily have anyone who are expertise in those areas. I do work with some consultants who have given me some ideas, but we're going to look at several things before it's all said and done that can generate revenue from the land. This is just, the first one. Another one being, I'll just throw this out, on this same parcel, we're looking at maybe doing another corporate house specifically, and then a senior living facility. So again, this is, technically this is phase 1 of like a 3-phase plan just for this site, just for these 5 acres.
Very, very nice. I love that you guys have thought through so much, and all of the things that you've talked about as opportunities are things that we've talked about as opportunities for the community also. I've got a great solar farm connect if you decide to go that route.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
For that. Very, very good. Kevin said, is that 20% return reflecting the 60-month duration, or is it an annual compounding?
Okay, great question. So let's talk about the 12% and the 20. So the 12% return, so let's talk about the phasing. We probably will need another 3 to 4 months to, let's say I had all the money today. We need another 3 or 4 months to complete the site development. Then we can roll right into the construction. So we have the construction perm loan sitting at the bank waiting for us to execute. That's going to be maybe another 8 months of construction before we're ready. So the 12 months, the 12% is going to be generated from the rental, and essentially we're going to be sharing the profits on a monthly basis, up to 12% of it. So if we need to give a higher percent per month so that the investors get their 12%, then that's what we'll do. If we're doing very well and making a lot of money, and we're still paying you your 12% a month, because we're going to stick with that commitment. Now the 20% profit sharing is at the end of the 5 years. So the house has more than likely appreciated. More than likely it's going to appreciate because the construction costs is not going to be the value of the house after it's been constructed. It's going to take, let's say, $900,000, but I've already had an appraisal done, what they call like a pre-construction appraisal, to where if we do everything we're showing, day one, it's going to appraise for 1.2. So now we're talking about 5 years from that. So we'll probably be in the 1.4, 1.6 arena. When we refi out, we're going to take 20% of those, of the cash out of the refi, and distribute that to our investors.
Very good. Thank you for that. Bernard says, I understand the focus is rebuilding that which was lost or taken. However, 12% return isn't a lot. It's more of a debt loss return. However, how long is the 20% equity for? So I think he just explained that. Bernard, I disagree. 12%.
I was going to say, if he doesn't think 12% is a lot, please tell me where you're investing your money, because I'll put mine where you have yours.
Yeah, Bernard, if you know where to get 12% and more, we need to bring you on a Monday session, brother. But I think you answered how the 12 and the 20 work in the previous question.
Right. Awesome.
Sarah says, have you already identified the prospective group of vendors, partners, and suppliers?
Vendors, I have not, in terms of constructing the residence. No, but this, I will say this. I'm going to say no based on my interpretation of vendors and suppliers. But what I will tell you is I have identified and have started working with the contractor. He's a local contractor. It's called Urban EO Bills. I can get that information now. It's slipping my mind right now. But in addition to being a local contractor, African-American, he also heads the local Habitat for Humanity in Tallahassee. So one, he's very well connected, so in terms of dealing with the permits and things like that, but also he's just a really good brother, knowledgeable. So he is part of the team. So to the extent where I need, because again, I'm not from there, I need boots on the ground in terms of the construction. He will be handling all of that, leveraging his local resources and connections.
Very, very nice. Anonymous says, how does the family fit into the investor role?
How does the family fit into the investor role? Okay, so what's happened is there's a process in Leon County, which is where this is in Tallahassee, called the 219. And I don't know how much I want to go into this, but this is a little bit of how some these counties kind of put us in a situation where our land doesn't have the value and we wind up selling it. So we were actually, because my mom has owned this land for so long, she was grandfathered in. Right now today, if you go to that area and you want to build a house where I'm showing our 5 acres at, you literally have to have 5 acres to build one structure. We were able to get around that because my mom has owned the land for so long, but what they required us to do was do a 219 subdivision. So even though my mom just wanted to heir the land to her children, her grandchildren, they essentially forced us to be developers, meaning you have to do the full thing. So at a significant cost, but fortunately enough, we were able to overcome that hurdle. So to answer the question, every member of my family owns one of the parcels, or the parcel is being heired. My brother, my sister, my nephew, me, so forth and so on. And as far as family moving forward, my cousin has some land adjacent to us, but she's willing to be a part of the development need be. She's an accountant in Atlanta, makes really good money. So we've had those conversations about basically working to the extent we need to, working as a family to get these things off the ground. But what you're seeing so far is really not going to require that. Basically, the entity that I'm creating will have the ability to construct it. And then, what we do moving forward may require other players. Now, obviously, just like everyone here, family members, if they want to, and that's the kind of another reason I like the crowdfunding. So, you know, you have some of those family members who are like, yeah, no, I'm gonna support you. Okay, well, go to the site and make your pledge. You know, it's like, it's no different than going to passing the plate in church. So, you know, I have a lot of family members too. So, you know, we should be able to raise a good bit of that 400,000 just within our family. So, but we'll see how that plays out.
Very nice. I love that you guys are working together on this to keep the legacy alive. And I just absolutely love everything about what you're doing. Anonymous says, has the Tallahassee area been affected by any of the past storms? If so, what measures will be had to protect the structure from storm events?
I think there hasn't been any catastrophic impacts, but you know, again, it is Florida. So that's a great question. And I didn't have the plans, but I think if you go to the secure living site, I have the floor plans, but I don't have the structural plans. So how do I want to answer this? So I thought about that with, you know, I gave some significant thought to that. So I actually found a group there in Georgia. They're called Miracle Trust. So essentially, the whole structural system is a metal truss structure. So what's great about that metal truss as the structure, and you may have seen inside the truss in the ceilings, is that it's very good in terms of wind shear. So for hurricanes and things like that, it's very, because it can kind of move or sway, but it still maintains its strength, and it's light enough so it can, you know, withstand those hurricane winds. And additionally, you know, with regard to just the building codes, in all areas of Florida, there are certain hurricane winds and wind loads that every structure must meet, and we certainly have the structure to meet or exceed those requirements based on the system that we're selecting.
Very good. We've got another question from Alicia in Facebook. More than likely, real estate in Florida is in a clear bubble right now. What if in 5 years there's a pullback? Then what's with the 20% promised?
I'm not sure if I understand what she means by a pullback.
I assume she means if the property depreciates versus appreciates. Alicia, if you can clarify that, if that's really what you mean.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to answer the question that I think she's asking. So as everyone knows, you know, you can't time the market. So if I had a crystal ball and I could tell you what was going to happen 5 years from now, you know, I'd probably not be on this call right now. I'd be doing some investing. But you know, that's always a probability. I think one of the things that I take solace in terms of being able to get the clients a return is that the property is, you know, day one going to appraise for significantly more than what we put into it. So whether in 5 years is, you know, 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, 1.9, I couldn't tell you, but I think it's fair to say, and I'm reasonably convinced that it'll definitely be more than what it costs to build, because it's gonna, you know, based on the pre-approval, and I have that appraisal, the pre-construction appraisal. It's in, you'll find it in my business plan. When you go to the Secure Living website, there's 2 buttons under the video. One is download the business plan, and one is download the pitch deck, which I showed you the pitch deck today, but actually the pitch deck I showed you, I modified it a little bit so it's a simpler form. So again, can't make any guarantees when it comes to anything with regard to investing, real estate specifically. But again, if we understand that more often than not, the trend is the properties increase with value.
Let me ask Alicia's question a different way, but still along the lines. If in 5 years there is a pullback in value, right? So it has not appreciated to the extent that you would have expected it to, could you postpone the refi? I mean, is that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very, very good.
Ms.
I
mean, we could postpone the refi, or we could increase the return. Say, hey, we can't do a refi, but instead of 12%, we're going to give you 18%, or, whatever it is to, come to some agreement with our investors. Good.
Very good. Ms. Patrice says, what is the political support or opposition Ms. Patrice, you're going to make me say the city name again. I did so good the first time. Miccosukee.
Miccosukee, Florida. It's Indian. Just think it's an Indian name. It's an Indian name, because that's where the Seminoles were. And I hope everybody knows the deal with the Seminoles. That was us.
That was us, right.
Feathers on.
So what's the political support or opposition there in Miccosukee?
There is no real opposition with regard to this, I will say. So that's another good question. I don't want to go off on a tangent. So this was a result of me. We talked about the different ideas, going to them and say, hey, I want to do this. I want to do this. And them saying, well, no, you can't do that. All you can do is a house. So that didn't sit well with me. I said, how are you going to tell me that's the only thing I can do on land that my family has owned for darn near 5 generations? But I said, I'm not going to fight that fight right now because I want my permits to go through. So I said, but we're going to come back to that. So, because I was looking at putting up, an apartment building, a small apartment building, some, condos, things of that nature. And all those things were shut down. So this is a result of such opposition as there were in terms of my original ideas. This is the compromise. So they said only thing I could do is put up a house. So I'm putting up a house. It's just probably not the kind of house they thought I was going to put up.
I love it. I love it. There was a question about the minimum. So I know you're in the test the waters phase on Secure Living site. We've been putting the link in the chat and also in the Facebook comments. But what's the minimum investment amount?
The minimum investment amount actually is $400. And actually, I got that from a conversation I had with a very intelligent young lady not too long ago. Yeah. But right now, the way the site is set up, because again, we're not taking any money, it's just showing 500. Here's my thought process behind that. And one of the reasons why I'm in love with the whole crowdfunding idea. Because again, I'm obviously passionate about this. I feel like this will resonate with a lot of people of all diasporas. So, my mindset in terms of $400, I'm like, if I can literally, get out in front, through social media, videos, TikTok, if I get in front of 100,000 people with this information, and I get 1,000 people to say, hey, I think this is a good idea. I have a little bit of money I want to put towards this, and I can get 1,000 people to give me $400. That's $400,000. So that's been my kind of lowest common denominator with regard to this project. If I can get 100 people to give me $4,000, because I've gotten some pushback on the other side. They're like, Kelvin, I hear about the $400, but even at a 12% rate of return, that's not a lot. I'm like, well, you're perfectly, I'm perfectly willing to take more money.
Yeah, you can give more. That's what, see, I think that's the thing that people sometimes miss with the crowdfunding thing, right? We hear the minimum and we think, okay, that's how much I have to put in. But you do want to do the math to say, okay, what do I want to see in the form of a return for my portfolio if I invest in this opportunity, right? And so you get to do that math for yourself and say, well, I think it would be reasonable to get X amount of money back. And so if X amount of money means you need to do $800 in the investment, then that's how much you do. If you need to do $1,200, then that's how much you do. But the $400 allows the average everyday investor to not miss the opportunity because it's priced so high. So it's really a compromise, a win-win for everyone is how I see it.
And I'm going to tie this back into something that was said earlier in terms of, the support. To me, what that also says is for, the person who doesn't make a lot of money, or my aunts who, on a fixed end, they want to support, but so they could probably do $400 to, I'm going to support you because, the minimum allows us to get that grassroots support for these sort of projects. And that's really the thing that I'm probably most excited about. Not even my project, is just, I see crowdfunding, if I marry the crowdfunding with the problem I outlined earlier in terms of our land and, it's not revenue generating. To me, that's the perfect marriage, because now, in essence, anything we want to do, we can literally do it because we don't need a lot of money. We just need support and people to put up a little bit of money, and we could pull off pretty much any project. I love it.
Yeah. And the other thing I like about this deal, and just to be very clear, I am not a financial advisor, right? So my comments are my own. They are not investment advice. But the thing I personally, Tawana, the investor, right, the person watching this with her portfolio in mind, I love that the investment is kind of two-tiered. I love that there's the 12% and then there's the 20, right? And so the 20 is that number that we can't necessarily plan for because we don't know how much it's going to appreciate.
Right.
But hearing your business model, I say he's covered all of the different areas. And there's a question here I want to get to next, but he's covered all the ways that this piece of property can make revenue so that when it does, if and when it does appreciate, the value of it is already kind of being thought about throughout the 5 years. It doesn't sound like you're waiting to year 5 to say, oh, let's do all these things to make it valuable. You're doing it from day one, even with the build in mind. You're building something that's going to hold the value just in the design itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of comments and questions. So Cal in Facebook says, what's the property zoned for?
Okay, the property is zoned rural residential, and which essentially means you can build a house. So yeah, that's, I'm gonna just leave it there.
the Miss, what is it, Misakaki? What is it, Misasuki? Miccosukee, Florida. Government officials got some splaining to do.
Yes, they do.
Because they got
some explaining to do, and we're gonna have that conversation
after
we get this project up.
But I think it's important to remember that the $400,000 raise has come into play because they're requiring the site to be fully developed before he could break ground on the structure of the house that they said it had to be. And so
do you want me to really get some
I don't want you to say, but if we think it's going to make them come to the table and invest.
I'm just going to say this because it's all true. So in this 219 process, when I first got the paperwork, there was some documentation that essentially says, before you do the full 5-acre development, you can build maximum 2 structures. After the second structure, then you have to complete the site development. Somehow or another, that language disappeared out of my 219.
Switched it up. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
This is how our land has been taken from us for generations.
You see what I'm saying?
This is where the bars move, like we were talking about the bar being moved. Like as soon as we get to the goalpost,
they move the goalpost.
Somebody said, look behind you, and then they move it, right? I mean, this is what you're dealing with. So that's interesting. The information with that language was there, and then it was gone.
Then it was gone. Yep. So, but it's one of those things where I'm like, well, they got the right one this time. Yeah. So it's like I like a challenge. So if that's how they're gonna play it, no problem. We're gonna find a way. But again, just going back to and this it's been literally hard for me to sleep since I've found out about the crowdfunding, which the first time I saw the first 10K project bet pitch I was on is when Secure Living was there. So that was fortuitous right there.
Man.
But it doesn't matter what impediments they put in front of us. If we work together, we can't lose. And I'm just so super excited about that. Like I said, even beyond what I'm doing, it's just if we can understand that this is a mechanism by which we can change pretty much any scenario or situation we want to, if we really want to do.
Yeah, so true. Sarah says, not a question, but a comment. Major cities are fighting back against the vacation rental market because it's creating extreme housing shortages and unsustainable rents. I know this is 30 minutes outside of the metro area. However, I would carefully plan how the Forbes Farmhouse will navigate independently outside Airbnb or Vrbo.
So what's the young lady's name?
Sarah.
Sarah, okay. Great question, Sarah. And that's one of the reasons why I incorporated the event rental space. So let's just say this. I've looked into that. I think, for the period of time we are right now, I don't see that as an issue. Tallahassee is, of course they have Airbnb and things of that nature, but I haven't really heard of any issue with regard to pushback. And I think some of that is more like I know, for example, in Atlanta, it's and maybe Jersey, some other places, when you're going into the cities and you're purchasing, condos and apartments and things like that. But, this is a single family residence, on the outskirts. But one of the reasons why I designed it the way I did and leveraging the land, I'm thinking of the event rental space, the venue space, the venue rental market in and of itself. That in and of itself could sustain this property. The average cost of a wedding, it's like, what, $10,000? Maybe on the low end. I don't know.
That's the low end. Yeah,
that's the low end. And so we can facilitate both inside, small inside, right? But we have a lot of land. So we could do very beautiful outdoor weddings and just have, hey, if we have bad weather, we move it inside. So, 5-6 weddings per season, whatever the wedding season is, that's over $100,000 right there.
Yeah, corporate retreats, those don't.
Corporate retreats, birthday parties, little kids' birthday parties. It's one of those situations where, because of the uniqueness of the facility, and it's not a large one, but it's not small. So a lot of those kind of in-between sort of facilities that are maybe hard to find locations for, that's affordable, we'll be able to tap into that. So, I like that whole idea. And, so it's some other kind of exit strategies I've thought about. But yeah, I think that's the benefit. Somebody says 30K. Yeah, the average wedding is $30,000. So now I don't know how much of that goes to the venue, but it's just it's a growth market, and that area is growing. So whatever is happening, it's only going to be more of it.
Yeah. Tracy, you must have looked at my checkbook. That's how much mine costs. Way too much. Way too much. Cal says, as an investor, this is a great question. As an investor, are you allowed to keep your equity instead of taking the 20% at the end of the 5 years?
No, and here's why. So if you go back to my first slide, the whole idea was for us. So my mom's maiden name is Forbes, mine is Harris, of course, is to keep the land in our name. So while I'm willing to share in the proceeds for a period of time, at the end of the day, the land needs to come back to the original owners, and the ownership needs to be there. So we can make as much money as we can between now and then, and I'm perfectly willing to help everyone make as much money as we can. But the reason why we haven't sold it, or the reason I haven't just designed this to sell, because I don't want to lose the land. I want to build more structures on that land, and we want to keep all of them.
Nice, very nice.
Now he can marry into the family, or she, if they can marry one of my cousins or something, and then you're good.
Then you're good to go. I love it. We've got another question. Rajana, and if I pronounced that incorrectly, I do apologize. Says, I heard that many insurance companies are restructuring their measure of risk acceptance in Florida. With that, is there an insurance company that has accepted providing coverage for the property?
No, quite honest, we haven't got to that point yet, because again, we're still knocking down trees. But no, that's something I will certainly look into. Now, again, I do have an insurance background, being in the financial industry. I don't do property and casualty, but I do have some colleagues that's what they do in terms of commercial insurance. And from everything that I've seen or heard, getting insurance on a property, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a rental. So you got commercial insurance, you got rental insurance, you got homeowner insurance. So I don't necessarily see what the major issue would be, but we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there.
Very good. Got a couple of comments. Sarah said, let's talk about the cousins then.
Hey, look, hit me up on Facebook.
I love it. And then Cal said, with the last name Harris, I might already be family.
See?
We're in Jacksonville, so maybe, Cal. Interesting.
Yeah, you can't be that much. I don't know what part of the tree we're on, but it's not a whole lot of us out here, and certainly not a whole lot in Florida. So I'm sure we're connected somewhere.
Wow.
Hey, if you go far enough back, we're all connected.
We're all cousins. That's right. We're all cousins. Miss Patrice says, you mentioned it was 4 bedrooms. How many baths? So tell us all of the rooms. Yeah.
So, oh man, I should have probably had a floor plan ready to pull up, but it's 4 bedrooms with a bonus room, like at the upper level, right where the little peak is. And that bonus room could be another bedroom, or my personal preference would be like a theater room. Some reason I just like theater rooms. So essentially there are 2, what's the word, master bedrooms. I think we're supposed to be using a different word other than master bedroom, but I can't remember. So one of my, any of my real estate agents on the call, let me know. But yes, there's a 4 bedroom with a bonus room that can be a 5th bedroom. Well, and the number of bathrooms, they all have a bathroom. So it's basically 5 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms.
Okay, so each bathroom is en suite. So every room has one.
Or is accessible, yes. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Anonymous says, how does this fit with timeshares? Florida is the timeshare capital.
I don't necessarily think it fits with timeshare. I think, again, the timeshare is its own thing. Vacation rentals are its own thing. I'm not looking to create a timeshare. Again, I'm looking to tap into what is, what hopefully I showed earlier is a trending market. Again, Florida is an area where people go to vacation. Again, Tallahassee, not necessarily known for that. We know it's the Miamis and the Fort Lauderdales and things like that. But that area is growing. And then again, people come to that area for all sorts of reasons. If the FSU, Florida football game, basketball game, girls softball is hot. Then you look at, FAMU, family reunions, the whole 9 yards. So there's a reason why that regional airport is now an international airport. It's not because people are not going to Tallahassee.
Got you.
Yeah.
Patrice makes a wonderful point. She says you might want to add another public bathroom since you have the events. You may want to figure out where there could be kind of a public bathroom. Very good point.
Yeah, well, I do, she brought up a good point. I'm thinking, I do have another bathroom. I actually forgot about it till she said it. So there are 6 bathrooms.
6 bathrooms, okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. So basically where we saw the shot of the atrium where there was the desk overlooking the, so basically it's basically a home office setup. There's a bathroom right there. So when there are events, people don't have to go back into the residential area. They can just go upstairs and use that bathroom. Or there is another bathroom like right past the stairs in the kitchen, so they don't have to go too far into the residential area.
Okay, very good. Anonymous says, is this Indian land? Said you spoke of Seminoles. Is
it Indian land? Like I said, I know my family has owned it for at least 1, 2, 3, 4 great-grandma, for at least what's going on 5 generations, because my nephew is coming along now. So now, again, I'm not good on all the family folklore. I was asleep for some of it. But if you see my grandfather, however I said I have Indian in my family. We may have some on his side of the family, my grandfather's side of the family. I have to run that by my mom. But yeah, in terms of Indian land, like Alaskan, Native American, and all that, in order to put some sort of a casino or something on it, no,
right.
Doesn't.
Right. There's no grant money out there for this.
There's no grant money out there.
Right.
Although they say we are the Indians, but I'm not going to get into that either.
Yeah, Miss Patrice says it's all Native American land at the end of the day. Very good. These were some really great questions tonight, guys. You guys were really, really engaged tonight with the questions. Any additional questions? We'll give them a few minutes to put any additional out there. Talisha, are there any more in Facebook?
Not at this point now, ma'am.
Okay, we've got one more from Kevin. Kevin says, what are the pro forma revenue projections and forecasts for customers, for customer take rates that bolster confidence in not only covering costs, but also generating profits?
So, Kevin, if you, again, go to the Secure Living site, right under the video, you will see a link to download the business plan, and then there's another one to download the pitch deck. The financial projections are all in there.
Wonderful. So guys, what Kelvin just described are the steps that you would take to do your due diligence. So he's got all of the information in there that you want to look at to do your due diligence to see if this project fits in your portfolio nicely. Any other questions? While they're thinking of their questions, I'll ask the question I always ask, and sometimes I forget until Alicia gets on me, because I'm not forgetting tonight, T-Shine. Why 10K project? Why was it important to come here?
Oh, why 10K project? It just made sense to me that a project that really had this, with the historical context that this project is in, I could see no better place to pitch that than to this community. I mean, we use the word no brainer, but if there's something that's more than a no brainer, that's what this was. Because it's like these, where else am I going to go where I can have this conversation candidly and people are immediately going to get it, because obviously I've talked to people individually about this project, just helping them, hey, help me craft the vision, or what do you think about this, or this is what I'm doing. And inevitably, almost every other person who I talk to about, hey, the real reason I'm doing all this, yes, I'm an investor, yes, I'm a financial advisor, but here's what's really going on with, my family is getting ready to be one of those, part of that 90% of the 14 million acres that have been lost or seized or taken. And I'm trying to stop that. And inevitably, someone said, that's the same thing that happened to my family in Virginia Beach. I just didn't know X, Y, and Z. And, historically, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown. I mean, the list goes on, where, we find out later on, all of these places were African-American strongholds in terms of land ownership. And now you barely get in there now. So it was just something about, I felt like I was given the information to make sure that my family wasn't a statistic. But then when I ran into the 10K project and kind of understood what you guys were about, and then you introduced me to Secure Living, and I found out that they're the only SEC vetted or sanctioned portal for real estate crowdfunding, managed and operated by African Americans. I'm like, okay, God, you don't have to send me no more signs. I might be dumb, but I ain't stupid. I'm good.
Yeah, that's powerful that the first pitch was when Vantina was on. I mean, that's powerful. That really is. That almost gives me goosebumps to know that the universe has aligned very nicely. I mean, because we do this every single week, right? So what's the odds that you were
what's the chances of that being the week I was on?
Yeah, something that you actually needed to know about and to be a part of. So I love it. I love that this has all worked out. In this moment, I just felt like there's a social component to this that I didn't consider before, right? I mean, this true. When I think about the county switching up on the rules and making these demands, so to speak, there's a social component here to where group economics comes into play more than ever, right? It's almost the, how dare you think we're not going to do this and do this yet again to our people? We are not going to allow you to do this again, right? And it's almost like we get to stand up for all of the families who have lost their land over these generations. And we get to say, not on our watch, right? Not today.
Exactly. And to that point, I think, because I was pushing this initiative, I ran head into it because I was trying to do something. It's like, hey, and I'm thinking, oh, this would be fine. I could, it's our land. We can put up what we want to put on it. But too often when there's no activity, these things are going on behind closed doors. So it's stuff like this happening. So again, had I not been engaged with them, I would have never known, hey, the original document you gave me had this language, but this one has, if you're not engaged and you're not pushing the envelope, they just give you the final document and you would think, oh, well, this is how it always is. No, it's not.
That's right.
So what, and then even in my situation, this is just what I discovered. What don't I know about that's going on? But again, you can only worry about that so much. I think we just, as a community, need to be committed to when there are good and viable projects or offerings that we come across, some of you'll like, some of you won't, that's fine. But just be committed to supporting those that you are in line with or in alignment with, because that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Cal's question is a good question for us to close it out a little bit with. So Cal says, when do investments close? So let's just talk clearly about what this is. This campaign is in testing the waters, which means that Kelvin is trying to decide if investment crowdfunding is the route he wants to go, right? So testing the water says, let me put it out there for the world to see. And if I get back positive results, i.e. people saying I'm interested, right? Then I'll file my Form C, which is the SEC document that says I want to do this, right, officially. And then it opens up to investments. And so then at that point, our commitment turns into an investment. So Cal's question is, when do the investments close? So how long is your testing the waters? If once you get the commitments that you're looking for, what time frame exists on filing for the Form C and so on and so forth?
So how long is the testing the waters? I would say, and that's a great question. I actually need to follow up with Chris and I always have a problem with the name, Tanya.
But she's here. She's on.
Okay. Oh yeah, I thought they might be. I didn't look at but those are some conversations we need to have. Also one conversation we need to have is what is my minimum for the testing the water phase, meaning if I get 200,000 in commitments, do we say, okay, well, yeah, we got some traction, we could probably make it happen. So yeah, those are still conversations we need to have. Again, I'm new to this process. I'm just passionate about what little bit I do know about it. I'm looking to learn as much as I can moving forward. But yeah, at some time before the beginning of the year, where we'll start to, do the capital raise in earnest, I'm going to have all those ducks in a row. I would say I would probably give myself early December as a deadline to kind of get all those things in place. But again, it's, if we see we have some soft commitments, that'll kind of be my signal to kind of, make sure all that stuff happens, as quickly as possible. If not, then the scenario is, now let's start looking at other options where maybe now I'm not looking for private equity. I'm going out to, some other investors or some other means of getting the project done. Like I said, I can't give a direct answer, but it definitely is going to be sooner rather than later.
Very good. And Vantina, I don't know if you want to come on, just allow you to talk, and maybe you can talk through some of the process and timing if that's okay. So just let me know if you're okay with me opening up your mic to allow you to talk. So Kevin, yes, testing the waters is just that. Testing the waters is all of us saying that this is something that we are interested in, right? And that we would like to, pursue, right? So we're interested in pursuing it. So you're not making the monetary commitment at this time. You're just making the soft verbal commitment that you are interested, you intend, that's a better way to say it. You intend to invest in this opportunity, right? And
there's no obligation. So right. Even if you say you intend and you decide not to, no harm, no foul.
Right. So very good. All right. We got the Secure Living CEO on, and we are just so excited. Tonight, I tell you, tonight has been absolutely wonderful, Mrs. Stokes. So talk to us.
Yes, thank you for just giving me a few minutes. And thanks for the presentation, Kelvin. I enjoyed it, so I'm sure everybody else did as well. So like Kelvin said, there are a few things that we need to work out, timing being one, but based on the presentation, if the funds, if there's enough commitment, there was anticipated kind of official start date in January 2024. So obviously, the test the waters phase would close prior to that. And, with a little bit of buffer in between, because there are things that we need to prepare and just kind of finalize on our end if we are to proceed. So, I mean, I would, let me not say too much, right? Because just because of regulations and things like that. But I know this is a very educated group, about crowdfunding specifically. You guys asked some great questions. And of course, there are things, if further clarification is needed, please email the Secure Living team and we can get those questions answered for you.
Very good. Very, very good. Okay. With that said, I think the call to action this evening is simple. If you are interested, right, if you want to be a part of the Testing the Waters campaign, then please go ahead, click the link we've been putting in the chat. It allows you to register on the site and then make your commitment. And so that is the call to action. In addition to you doing that for yourself, you know what I'm going to ask, right? Share the heck out of the campaign. Share the link with everyone you know. Share it, share it, share it. Share it and share it again. Like that is the goal. These are not difficult things we ask for here, right? It is very, very simple. Share the heck out of this campaign. Post it everywhere. Tell your family. Share it with your friends, right? The site is very, very easy to navigate, so they will not have a difficult time finding the information. It is not a needle, no needles and no haystacks here. It is very, very easy to get the information that they need. So please, that is the call to action. Share the campaign. If you are yourself interested, make the Testing the Waters commitment so that you can follow the campaign, get more information. And you guys, once you make the decision to go forward, you'll email people and keep them, and anybody who made the commitment, they'll get emails regularly from you, keeping them up to speed on everything, right?
Absolutely.
Very good. We've got one more question from Rain. Rain says, hello, Mr. Harris. I'm actually planning to visit Tallahassee in November for the Miami versus FSU game.
See?
Is the room open for viewing?
Is it open for viewing? I mean, you could probably go by there, but it is an active construction site. So you'll just probably see a lot of backhoes and things like that, and some trees stacked up that need to be burned and that sort of stuff. So, it's, what is it? Moccasin Gap. Just get on a map and type in Miccosukee, Florida, and keep driving. Once you pass the Bradley's store, which Bradley's is like famous in that area, it's maybe half a mile up Moccasin Gap to your left.
Okay. Moccasin Gap, Miccosukee. I said it right.
Miccosukee, Florida.
Miccosukee, Florida. All right. Very, very good. Any additional questions, guys, before we say good evening? This has been a very, very engaged group. I see the kind of deals y'all like to ask questions about. I came with the real estate questions. It's almost like y'all knew he was coming. All right.
Yeah, primary bedroom, not master.
That's what it's called, primary. So you want to call it master anymore. Primary bedroom is what they're called. Okay. Mm-hmm. Cal says you can sell the trees. I was thinking the same thing, Cal, when he said burn them just now.
We looked into that.
You can't sell them for firewood or anything?
No, there's certain trees. That's the first thing I did. There's certain trees, like pine is in a certain size pine, because when you mill it, you have to be able, it has to be big enough that you can cut it to get so many 2x4s and so forth and so on. Unfortunately, on that. I even had a tree consultant go out there and basically do a survey of the land. So unfortunately, the trees that we have aren't the ones that bring any significant revenue. But yeah, we left no stone unturned on this one. We looked at everything.
Interesting. Will the farmhouse have a fireplace?
Not a functioning one.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let me not say that. Not a actual one. It will have a gas fireplace, a modern one.
Okay.
One just, it's actually not energy efficient fireplaces, and of course we don't really do fireplaces anymore for actual wood inside the property.
Gotcha. Cal says, have you thought about putting a balcony on the event side?
I do have a balcony on the event side.
Yeah, let's show the picture of it.
Yeah, I do have.
Put that picture up again, because there was one on the back side.
Yeah, there's a balcony on the event side, and there's a balcony off of the primary bedroom. Okay, let me share this. Keeps. You go from the beginning, keep going from the, so here. So I know it's a little hard to see, but there's a balcony right there. Mm-hmm. And even if we go further, I mean, it was even from the beginning, it was even part of the design. You see it right here?
Yeah, you see it there in that picture nicely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's.
I think it's because the glass.
Yeah, the glass, it was hard to see. Let me see if it's the other ones, but I'm glad people are liking the design. I was a little nervous because, like I said, I haven't been an architect for quite some time, but apparently I haven't lost my skills.
You have not lost. That is money well spent. So you did not lose your touch. This is beautiful.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you can't see it, but yeah, right here, that's, and then here's the balcony off of the second floor primary bedroom. So yeah, I again, I wanted to put those attractive amenities in there, so it, aesthetically, it looked appealing. It looked like some place you'd like to have an event or get married, or have a corporate training. It's still secluded enough and away from the beaten path, but again, just for large parties, again, just like Rain said, he's going to the FSU Miami game. Tailgaters, you might have, because just in terms of the numbers, so I mean, you could rent this out probably for the same price of maybe 2 hotel rooms in downtown DC. I mean, downtown Tallahassee, with after tax.
Right.
So would you rather be in a hotel where you're cramming with, or you basically have this whole estate to your group? So I think it's, that's really not even the pitch for this. That's really the trend that we're seeing for travelers with regard to vacation rentals. People would rather stay someplace like this than at a Hilton. It's just that simple, especially you got kids or family members or what have you. If price point's about the same, I'd rather stay here.
I agree. We've got a couple of questions about, we're back on the trees again, Kelvin.
Okay, we're back on the trees.
Is it possible to make, so take the trees instead of burning them, right? Is it possible to create something that stays on the property? Like, the dining room table made by a furniture maker that can modernize it to fit the aesthetic, but using the wood from the trees, or, a piece of furniture, a headboard or something, again, modern, because it needs to fit the aesthetic, but to engage a furniture maker or somebody that can keep the trees and keep the wood. versus
I'm
burn?
not sure, but let me just show you guys. Cause see, these are the trees we're talking about. That's all throughout there. They're not, I mean, it's dense,
They're kind of skinny,
but
yeah.
they're very small tough trees now. If you think you can roll it, just hit that with a car and see what happened. That tree's not going nowhere. So that's i.e. the bulldozers, but yeah, we looked at a lot of other options with that, because that's one of the initial, I'll say, assumptions I made, is that I would be able to use the money, the proceeds from the trees, to fund some of the development, but just didn't pan out. But that's okay, because at the end of the day, by not being able to go these other routes led me here.
Yeah, yeah. Ms. Patrice says even to contact a local artist to maybe create some art around the property using the tree. Anonymous says could be mulch. So you can save it for the landscaping, then you don't have to pay for mulch. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I will definitely run that by my contractor. Again, you guys, he's in the business plan on, I think, the last page. I have my whole team. You know, again, just speaking of family, the other persons on my team is my nephew, a graduate from Columbia with an economics degree, has been doing a lot of real estate investment up in Newark, New Jersey. He's now in California. So, you know, when we get to that part of the conversation, with, of course, we didn't go through now, I think you'll see that we have a formidable team, and that's not even including the secure living team. So I told them from the beginning, I said, look, I'm gonna need a lot of hand holding. I'm very excited and all that, but I've never done this before. So tell me what I need to do, where I need to be, what I need to say, what I don't need to say. And they have done just that.
Very good. And then Michelle has the final question. Says, also, have you considered a full bathroom that opens from inside and outside near the pool?
No, I have not.
Good idea too.
I would say the only, yeah, you can't see it, but if you go to the, hold on, let me try one more thing. I just, if
Michelle's
you,
like me, I don't like all that traffic in the house. I don't want all those
yeah,
people
if
in the house to go to the
you,
bathroom.
here, let me look at the plan. If you look at the floor plan, so this is the actually this is the why am I forgetting the word? This is our business plan. Let me go to the floor plan. Oh, here's Bradley's store.
Country store. So you
On
got
the
pass
National Register of Historic Places. So everybody in Tallahassee knows Bradley. So just ask them, where is Bradley's, and go up the street and we're right there. But if you, okay. So on the first, it's getting smaller. On the main floor, again, this is actually most of the time will not be used as a bedroom.
At the theater?
This is the game room.
Game room. Okay.
So these are sliding doors here, and literally, oops, I don't think you can do that. You can go out here to the pool. Now, I could turn this window into a door, so that you could literally come from the pool right into the game room and into the bathroom.
There's the bathroom. Okay. I think what Michelle was saying was, Michelle, were you saying to place a bathroom that you could enter from the outside by the pool? Or were you saying just another entry point like Kelvin just showed us? Because that's actually a direct route from that door, if you made that a door, into the water closet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could come, because I'm envisioning like having a little pool table, some card tables here, a flat screen over the gas fireplace. So this is going to be a lot of activities. Right now, I have sliding doors here, so you kind of have to come around the corner. But I mean, I could put a door here so you can come directly from the pool area to the bathroom. So I'll take that under consideration.
Yeah. Michelle says, I like that idea.
Okay, I didn't know I was gonna get a free design critique on top of everything else. That's great. Now I feel like I'm back in school.
Right, and Mr. Treese says just add another bathroom outside somewhere, so the people don't have to come in the house.
Okay, all right, okay.
Oh my goodness, this has been a good evening. Any other questions? You know my commitment, guys. Last question asked and answered. We stay until the end. Any additional questions? Okay, call to action. If you are interested in making a commitment, please use the link. We've put it there. 9:42 was the last time the link was put in. So it's just right, maybe 4 or 5 comments up. So register on the Secure Living site, make your Testing the Waters commitment, and then do what? Share, 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 and share again. Thank you guys so much for coming. You know, this Tuesday nights wouldn't be any, there'd be me and Talisha sitting here looking silly if it wasn't for the rest of y'all. So we appreciate you guys so much. We really, really do. The 10K project is only as good as it is because of this community. And so thank you all so very much. You understand the assignment. You know why we're here. You keep showing up every single week because you love this work that we're doing the same way I do. So I feel like we got a message to send to the county government in Miccosukee. I feel like we getting ready to tell them who they up against and show them they need to quit playing. I feel like
you said,
it happened here.
We can show them better than we can tell them.
That's it. We can show them better than we can tell them. That's it. This one's gonna be for Miccosukee. Right. this one gonna be for them. Calvin, what's your final statement for the community this evening, and then we'll say goodnight.
Well, I just am so thankful, Tawana, for what you and your group are doing with the 10K project. Again, bringing like minds together, facilitating introductions like you did with myself in Secure Living. You know, I'm just super excited about the opportunities. I can tell you, it's just hard for me to sleep at night because I see the whole crowdfunding thing. And again, I went to Howard, so you know, we good with the conspiracies, but you know, this is an opportunity. When I fully understood the crowdfunding, I'm like, we are now at a point where money is no longer the issue. The issue is, what do we want to do and what do we want to do together? Because anything we want to do, again, like with Miccosukee and what they're doing, it doesn't matter what you do, because if we move or we work together or we have the willingness to work together, there's nothing we can't do, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop us from doing anything.
That's it. That's it.
So I'm just, you know,
that's it. That's all we need.
So even beyond this project, I mean, I'm talking with other folks about all things crowdfunding. I have I want to build a hospital. I want to build a grocery store in a food desert. I'm like, we can do, the money's no longer the issue. Do you have a good idea? Right. If you have a good idea, we can get the money.
That's it. That's
so
it.
I'm
good idea and a solid business plan, right?
Well, yes.
And the ability to be a great founder, because that matters, right?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yes,
what you showed us here this evening was a solid plan, brother. A solid plan, right? You are the kind of founder I would invest in, because you showed us a solid, well thought through plan. You talked about all the other opportunities you investigated to use this family land in the best way possible. You are the kind of founder that I would invest in.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I take that as an immense compliment, you know, knowing all the folks who have come on this program. But yeah, I'm just excited about this and the future of our communities, leveraging just this one tool.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. Well, thank you for taking us on the journey with you. We are happy to come along for the ride. Everyone, we will see you next week. Thank you so very, very much for joining us. I love you all. Have a good evening. Peace and blessings. Good night.